show. As always, I'm your host, Daniel, with my father and co host, Jerry. Say hi, Dad.
Oh,
This time we were doing the 1981, I believe, classic Escape from New York. I knew a lot about this movie and I've seen parts of it, but I've never seen the full movie before. I don't know about you.
no, I think I've only saw parts of it. You're right.
Uh,
Yeah, I saw it on TV before, but I think I didn't tune in the full way.
yeah, well, I know it's also, I know I've also seen parts of Escape from LA or whatever, the sequel.
Yeah,
But honestly, it still holds up pretty well, I think.
yes, it does.
It's kind of interesting because it's an action movie without much action in it. If you kind of go over it, what happened in the movie.
Hmm.
It still has throughout the movie though a very tense atmosphere. Uh,
They,
yeah,
they did a great job on getting the New York atmosphere of, a sort of burned out hell of a place.
yeah. Which like, I mean, I'm sure this was like, I mean, this was one of the first movies to kind of do that and stuff, the kind of punk aesthetic and stuff. But no, it looks really like I don't know if this. I'm assuming this wasn't a tremendously high budget movie or anything, but it looks really good throughout the whole thing. Um,
They actually got the city of New York to turn off the lights in different areas at different nights.
that's yeah, that's really
Oh
cool.
no, they got them to turn off in a 10 block area so they could film in it.
Hmm.
And the New York City of New York turned it off on several different areas and several different nights.
Hmm.
Uh, but the one thing that I heard that Carpenter did have a problem with that New York City at the night is still not bleak enough for the movie.
Hmm.
I mean, it wasn't torn down enough.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. He did film it at night in several areas, but then they did do shots in Los Angeles as to uh, where they had much bleaker areas that they filmed.
Oh, that makes sense, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, and it really shows. It really helps for like the atmosphere and the tension in the movie because, like I said, there's not many action scenes, but it's always really tense. You very much get a feel like the characters could get killed or hurt at any moment. Uh, you can very much tell that this guy's done. There's a lot of horror elements in this movie. I think.
Yes.
Um, as well as well as like uh, and it moves at very much a slower pace than a lot of these movies you'd think of would. Um, uh, like, uh, I really liked how they handled a lot of the scenes in this. Um, because like, I mean, fairly early on, you kind of like they have the whole thing that it's this big prison colony and stuff, and then you have the president's plane crash. But when they go in to get him, you don't see him. They just kind of walk up and give the guy the finger his finger.
Yeah.
And one of the things that got me throughout this whole movie was how like I actually got how all the people that were surviving in this movie were surviving because they weren't stupid.
Mhm.
They were in
Yeah.
this nasty, gross place, but one, they were trying to make the most of it,
Hmm.
and two, like you got why the people that had the power were in power
Yeah.
because they were a lot smarter than a lot of them, and
Yeah.
like the one nerdy guy that couldn't fight or anything kept the lights on, so obviously he's going to be protected and looked
Hmm.
after, and
That was really good, well shown too. You know, he kept the light on. He
mhm,
also has this extremely attractive
mhm.
woman, uh, and that was sort of really interesting.
Yeah, well, even when he clearly betrayed the guy,
Yeah.
and it's not really shown or whatever the head guy, but when he betrayed the guy was still not didn't kill him
Yeah.
or anything, which you'd expect because of how important he was, and I found that interesting. No, I like um I actually found a lot of the characters and stuff in this movie to be pretty believable, and I think it's they obviously cast a bunch of character actors in a lot of the roles in it.
Yeah.
Like you have Ernest Borgnine, you had Harry Dean Scranton, you had Isaac Hayes,
Mhm.
uh, and obviously the president's Donald Pleasant, who does a great job as this kind of self-centered, greedy, cowardly president. Uh, who is very much in it for himself.
Yeah.
Um, mhm. But I actually really liked Kurt Russell's character Snake,
Mhm.
just because he was very like you got through the whole thing. He didn't want to be there. Uh, he wasn't happy with being there. They build up his backstory being very vague, but you can tell he's very good at what he does. He obviously worked with the one brainy guy before in a bank heist or something. They talked about how he was ex-military and stuff. Uh, and you can tell throughout the whole thing he's competent at what he does. Uh, as well as one of the things, and I know this is jumping ahead, but I really liked how the ending was done
Yeah.
with him and stuff, and we'll talk about that more later. But mhm,
The when they originally went with Carpenter,
mhm.
they wanted his financial backers wanted him to take Charles Bronson or Tommy Lee Jones in the lead role as Snake.
That's interesting.
But Carpenter liked Kurt Russell from his when they did the audition of him,
Mhm.
and Kurt Russell, of course, wanted since he had all the roles with Disney where he was a good guy, he
Yeah,
wanted something that made him a little bit more like an actor and not like a nasty guy,
yeah.
and so
Well,
that's why he took the part.
yeah. I mean, he's very, he is very much an anti-hero in the film.
Yeah.
Uh, and and he does it really well. It's shown really well. It's very. He's not here to save the president because he has to. He's forced to. And his main mission isn't to save the guy, but to get because they put in things that he'll die after so long if he doesn't get him
Yeah.
out. And that's his number one priority throughout the whole thing is to get those out.
Hmm.
Uh, and he doesn't show like he's not really there to save anybody. He's there to get the president out. He's not there to save the people that are there or whatever. And
Yes.
it,
No, he certainly is not.
mhm.
Uh,
uh,
he
but
just wanted to do his job and get out of there.
yeah, an escape,
Yeah.
which is interesting. That's not really shown that often. It's usually this character, but with like a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Now he does like at the end, he is clearly upset at what happened.
Hmm.
Uh, I really like that. Like he gave the president he. They're also trying to get a tape that has something on it. You never really find out what it is, but it's some MacGuffin that's also just as important. Uh, and they wanted it to play at some UN meeting or something, and he
Yeah.
has the tape, but he gives the guy a chance to like kind of justify what happened and all the people that died to save him,
Hmm.
and the president just kind of blows it off,
Yeah.
and then and it's very heavily implied that that's the reason he didn't give him the tape then.
Yeah.
And I thought one that kept with his character really well,
Hmm.
but two, I thought it was a good thing to show like, yeah, he's he didn't he's not like some great savior or some great person,
Yeah.
but he was angry that this happened and
Yeah.
like these people were killed because of it.
Yeah.
Uh, on it. Um, but yeah, one of the things though that I know I mentioned earlier that I kind of want to go over with you is like how it's an action movie, but with very few action scenes.
Hmm. It's more of a scary movie.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to go over. Because it's very tense throughout the whole film.
Yes.
Um, like I mean, like right when he gets into the city, like he kind of gets driven off the streets. He finds this woman. They're talking, and then just people like tear out from underground and grab her.
yeah.
Um, and that kind of sets it off.
And I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's sort of like all of New York in the movie looks like a haunted house,
Yeah.
like a haunted house from a movie.
Hmm.
You know, it's dark, it's dingy, it has all kinds of angles to it and stuff.
Hmm.
It was a very good job of filming. I think even his landing of the glider
Hmm.
on top of the roof, they made that into a you know, not really a safe landing of any type whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's sort of the scary, but it's like you said, a horror scary type of
Yeah.
situation.
It has way more horror elements than you'd expect for like the premise and the action film thing in it.
Yeah,
Because I mean, he only really like he has the one time, and most of the action scenes are chase scenes.
yes,
Like he's obviously running away at the end, but the other time when he's running away from the mob of people, there's only really one. I guess he has the one scene where he's just kind of sneaking into the place, and he
yeah,
has obviously the fight in the arena with the guy.
yeah,
That's one of those like death games or whatever, which is actually something I really liked. Because first off, most of the time in those you see the hero gets completely destroyed by the guy, and then like
yeah,
outsmarts him and gets like one lucky blow in or something.
yeah,
But in this one, like, yeah, he's getting his ass kicked,
yeah.
but you can see like the other guy's been hurt. Like you
Hmm.
see he has bruises at
Yeah,
the one point, and then you see him actually bleeding when they give him the bats with nails in it,
yeah.
which I really liked. I thought that was clever.
The yeah, and you know the last chase scene, he's
Hmm.
being chased by one of the great props of all time, the Cadillac.
Yeah. Oh, the Cadillac with the chandelier on it.
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
mean,
Yeah,
I,
like the wardrobe and stuff in it. Like, yeah, we've now seen it a lot, that kind of stuff. But it still looks really good in this one. You can still tell they put a lot of planning and effort in it. Like, it still feels like this would be New York.
yeah,
Uh,
and it's not a chase scene between two faster cars. The
mhm.
chase scene between one guy who seems to know he's going to catch the guy, and the other guy who's trying to get away uh, through a bridge that is, booby trapped.
Yeah, and like it was very clever with that kind of stuff. Like there was no like all the action scenes were very clever and well done.
Yeah,
In a lot of that stuff, it was a lot more of that. Like I said, like there's only the only guns in the whole movie are the two that Snake brings in with him.
yeah.
Uh, and they both get used, and like obviously that's the main thing they take from him when they have it, because it would be that. But I mean, and you see people with like crossbows and bows and arrows and stuff as
Yeah.
well as, which is fairly like unusual in those things, and it makes sense for the environment they're in.
Yeah.
Like I know like the whole movie is based on this kind of absurd premise,
Mhm.
but it's one of those where they got this absurd premise, they had a fun idea with it, and they took it and they ran with it, and it really works.
Mhm. Well, I
Um,
think it really worked in the time too. I mean,
yeah.
this was the mid '70s. Uh,
This came out I think 81 or 80.
yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, the stories from it was what 1997 or something.
Yeah,
Because,
the future year of 1997. Uh, but yeah, no, and like I mean, it's a clever idea. The big city gets so bad they wall it up and just use it as a prison.
yeah.
Uh, and they just took that idea and they ran with it, and it worked.
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of it worked because one, they had, like I said, they had a lot of character actors, so they'd have these like parts that the people would just kind of chew the scenery with. Like you had Ernest Borgnine as the cabbie,
Yeah.
Isaac Hayes is the main villain, uh, Henry Dean Scranton as the uh, Harry Dean Scranton as the like Brainiac. I think his name was Brain guy. Um, and and like, and first off, all the characters interacted really well together. You got why they were in a group. You got why they were working together. Obviously, a lot of people's main idea was to just get the hell out of there,
Yeah.
uh, which is their whole goal. Um, like I said, the crime lord's main thing was he had the president, so he was going to use him. But
Mhm.
uh, and they set up all that stuff well. Uh, but and a lot of it, I also think, did come down to the fact like Donald Pleasant just kills it at his role as the president.
Oh yeah.
Um, he I mentioned, he's this kind of he's terrified, but he believes he's superior to everybody still. He's very smug. Um, he's clearly only in it to get himself out. He doesn't care about any of the other people
Yeah.
um, in it. And like I said, I really liked at the end that when he gets up the thing and then he's going up, he stops it for a snake so he can shoot Isaac Hayes,
Yeah.
and he just shoots him. He doesn't just shoot him once or twice; he just unloads on him.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was something that character 100% would do.
Mhm.
Like there would be no question in my mind that somebody like that would do that.
Yeah.
And I really liked that scene because of it. Uh,
The the one interesting I seen about the movie,
mhm,
and I was wondering about this in the movie.
mhm,
Uh, you William Gibson said this movie influenced him for Neuromancers.
mhm. Yeah,
And the one thing in one of William Gibson's characters in Neuromancers, of course, gets implants
mhm.
that are, to explode in him if,
Yeah, they're slowly
after a
killing
certain
him.
power. Yeah,
No, oh wait, no, it's the main character gets like the stuff in it, and that won't let him like hack into the web anymore or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or yeah, and yeah, no, you can see like I don't know if this was the first movie to do a lot of that stuff, but
Hmm.
I've seen a lot more like they put the stuff in the guy, um, so that he has a limited time frame and it will kill him if they don't. Um, I know this movie was a huge influence on like the Metal Gear Solid series. The main character even is like based off of a lot of this thing. So you see that.
Yeah.
Um, this obviously helped influence a lot of those post-apocalyptic movies of the '80s. Probably second only to Mad Max.
Hmm.
Uh,
But yeah, as I said, William
mhm.
William Gibson was influenced by it. Also, the guy who developed Metal Gear
Yeah,
said that it played a big part in his development of Metal Gear.
Hideo Kojima. I mean, he even named the main character Snake after him.
Yeah.
And he looked at it. Yeah. No, I'm a huge Metal Gear fan. I played almost all the games, so like I could really tell that. Um,
Mhm.
and like I know like they even met John Carpenter once, and John Carpenter called him out on it, but he said it was okay because they were really well done and they're good friends or something now. But yeah, you can tell the influence it is. But I also want to point out because we also saw From Russia with Love not too long ago,
Yeah.
and how like I think this was like it had some very James Bondy elements to it because
Mhm.
like he has the gadgets and he uses all the gadgets throughout the movie.
Yes.
He has the tractor. He has that. Um,
Mhm.
he it actually has some mystery to it because like he's supposed to track down the president with this thing, and like
Mhm.
just some bum off the street has it,
Yeah.
so he has to then look for it. You have like they show a lot outside the prison too of the guards trying to figure out what to do, meeting with the prisoners and talking it out and stuff,
Yes.
which I think actually really helped add to like it does a lot of world building and stuff because
Mhm.
all you ever see is the prison in the movie and like the prison in the like outside where they're keeping the people locked in at,
Yeah.
but you do feel like there's a whole world built around it.
Yes.
Like you feel like this character Snake, like a lot of people always are like, I thought you're dead.
Mhm.
He talks about like some bank heist they're gonna pull. Like a lot of people know who he is, so he
Yeah.
had very much like they kept up a lot of mystery, but they also built him up a lot, kind of like how
Yeah.
they do like John Wick and stuff now.
Yeah.
and I thought a lot of that really helped add to just kind of like the whole world of this and everything.
Yeah.
Uh, but hmm
Yeah. Yeah, I think that
uh, and I'll say this like from like it is very like having the horror action, which I think is more like an in-depth thing to what this movie is. It is a like great setting for something like that, a fallen city
yeah.
that's a prison also.
Yeah, I thought it was a great concept
Yeah.
that he came up with, where we took the city. Of course, New York is ideal because it's
hmm
an island that's basically surrounded by it's a river island,
hmm
not a real island in a big waterway, you
hmm
know. And you could see them making a prison around it and putting up the large walls and everything. And they did a good job of that right at the beginning, explaining it.
hmm
And you could see it actually being that way.
hmm
And then they came down into
hmm
New York City, and it looked like New York City, an eerie version of it. What you know,
hmm
when you first arrive in New York City, you're standing there, and it's totally foreign to you because the buildings are so high.
Yeah. Uh huh.
And and this movie made it, a dark, foreign, as I said, almost spooky area.
Yeah. No. And like I said, it was like it's one of those things that it's this impossible thing that would never happen,
Yeah,
but everything in it is believable that
yeah,
happens.
yeah,
Uh, and like I said, they do a lot. Like outside, like you have the president's plane is taken over by terrorists, which is why he gets an escape pod and escapes down, which is why that. But like and like they don't really go into more of the terrorists, but you get there's more going on to this whole world and stuff. They talk about the crime rate and
yeah.
everything. Uh, uh, but yeah, and I think like a lot of that just helps build up like one how kind of nasty this place is, but um, uh, two it helps just make the whole movie feel more real and more
Yeah.
there. And like I said, one of the key things is in the movie is from the moment he enters the city, like even as his glider touched down, you never feel that he's safe throughout the entire time in it.
Oh,
There's
no.
never any breathing room for him. He's always in danger from something, and I think that really helps the film.
Yeah.
Uh, even though it's not really a, even though it's more of an action movie than a horror movie, it still has a lot of those elements, which makes sense because obviously John Carpenter did Halloween and did a bunch of other horror movies.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
mhm. uh, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about on this one, or
I don't think so. I think we hit most of the high things. It's
yeah,
a good movie, and I certainly recommend it.
yeah, it's a lot. I mean, we all had a lot of fun watching it. And yeah, check this one out. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And I guess that's all. So again, if you're watching this on YouTube, please remember to like and subscribe. If you're watching this on Twitch, please subscribe. Thank you all, and have a nice day or night.
Thanks.